A producer for E! says that she was fired because she included a comment from Eva Longoria about Catt Sadler. You may remember Catt Sadler was the E! host who raised awareness about the fact that her male co-host, who was doing essentially the exact same thing, was getting paid twice what she herself was getting paid for that, if not more. I don't remember the exact figures, but it was just staggering how big the pay disparity was. And so this segment producer, whose name is Eileen Graham Moreno, said that she alleged that she was fired from E! after running Eva Longoria's red carpet comment earlier this year supporting a news host who left the network after finding out her male colleague got double her salary. E!'s response is, for the past decade, Eileen was a freelancer who worked an average of 20 days per year solely for our red carpet coverage. After the Golden Globes, she was asked not to return due to job performance issues. Following an attempt to force E! to pay for her silence, Miss Moreno is now spreading misleading and inaccurate information. What do you think? 5 words or less.
Eek, this doesn't look good.
Shady move, E!
Enough already.
Trying to red carpet this over.
You didn't go with the E! thing.
No, I decided it had been done enough.
Okay.
But I get it. So I don't know what to do with this story. Honestly, I read it and I was like, oh, so someone got fired for trying to bring it up. Let's get back to the pay disparity discussion.
Yeah.
Because I think that's more, this is definitely like a, E! said, she said kind of thing.
E! said, she said, there you go.
Came back around.
E! said,
I get it though. This is like a very like, oh, I can see a lot of really good click titles for this where it's like, oh, E! is trying to cover up for what they did wrong.
Yeah. Right.
Meanwhile, E!'s also like doing their own independent investigation of the Ryan Seacrest, sexual misconduct claims. Like, oh, how much should I trust E!
I hope to one day work at E! But for today, I'm going to say that you shouldn't trust E! Because
really?
because E!'s going to, of course, protect the brand, And this woman had worked as freelance for E! for 13 years, yes, since 2007. So within that time, you get to know a lot of people within the house. And so she has a relationship with them. They know her. So for her to be fired for that, normally what happens is you get a stern talking to. The powers that be, your EP will call into the office and be like, hey, you know what, you really effed up talking about that. You don't get fired for that. So I feel like E! is just trying to save face and get rid of people who are possibly could blow the whistle even louder on what's going on behind closed doors.
And really, like, what do they expect? The story with Catt Sadler like really blew up, and it looked very bad, especially around the time of when they're doing all these red carpet. It still looks really bad, but I'm saying like it was so highlighted because it was during all these red carpet interviews. I don't know, like what do they expect? Of course, people are gonna bring it up. This is a major issue that's plaguing Hollywood right now, pay disparity. So. Sorry that you guys weren't, sorry that you guys didn't have your life, your whatever together, your life, because you're a person. You need to get your life together.
No, they really do. But I also think what's really shady about that story is that apparently this producer was told to flag in interviews during the red carpet if people brought up the Time's Up movement, Me Too, so that they could like remove that from like the post. I don't even know.
Or like review it or something.
Yeah.
Get in
like
front of it.
she was told to flag it, and she was also told like to not, to not even bring that up or to not like air stuff.
They're like, okay, this is in the. I get the instinct from E! to say there's something in the news that says terrible things about us, and I also get, and so we probably shouldn't let people say terrible things about us on our show. One way to do that is to not have a show that year, and E! can't do that. So this is their way of solving it, which holds together logically, and I totally buy. I also buy the idea of someone who's been doing red carpet coverage for 30 years and is like, listen, I cover what people are talking about. I'm gonna include when people say it.
Exactly.
And I think if you're E! that is a good thing. You should, otherwise it's just like this immense cover up. Why the hell? I get putting like a delay in there just in case that you do that for all kinds of reasons. But
to completely censor
it's not the crime, it's the cover up, and this is both.
Brett, those are great points, Brett. What's even more like kind of unsettling about this is that E!'s brand is pop of culture. They're the authority on entertainment, right? So you can't, if your brand is to give your audience, who are the most important thing, pop culture, and you're entangled in that, you have to do a service and hold up your obligation.
Yeah, E is sort of in such an awkward spot recently, and we've been talking about this a little bit off camera, where just when you're watching the red carpet shows, especially now, the whole thing feels weird, and E hasn't really been able to navigate where they land in this, especially now that they're part of this news story as well. And I think that all of this is just sort of messed together, and they haven't had a good response to it. And what ultimately needs to happen is that E needs to change. Like, this brand isn't gonna, I think that we're in a moment where this is gonna change and shift, and people aren't interested in this anymore.
It's already happening.
It's already happening, but E hasn't reacted to it yet. And so instead what they're doing is this weird cover-up thing, or this weird, don't talk about this oddly sort of censorship sort of thing. And none of that's working. So you guys gotta try something else. Why not do the right thing?
Yeah, how about you solve the pay disparity problem before the red carpet show?
Yeah, so that people still a thing.
Yeah,
it's incredible to me that is still a thing, and that, I mean, it's weird to me that Jason Kennedy hasn't been like, you know what? She needs to be paid the same as me. I'm not gonna work here unless she. It's so weird to me, and nobody said anything to him about it. It's like it's so incredible to me that nobody at that network, nobody that has worked with her, has her back in this.
Right. You don't have any. There's no obligation that anyone has to, if you're Jason Kennedy, to do the right thing. You're not forced to do it. One of his options is to just kind of, maybe if I don't move, they can't see me.
Which is exactly what he's doing.
But you have to consider the effect that decision has on how people perceive you.
Right.
Because your whole job, future is based on how people perceive you. And if you go from the likable vanilla whatever guy, which is what he is on E, and there's a role for that. If you go from that to guy who won't help women out and lean in or whatever, then yeah, it's a problem for you. It starts to become a problem with you. Same way it becomes a problem for E if they don't solve their problems ahead of time.
Their interviews are gonna get awkward.
They're not listening to their audience. So that's just what it boils down to. They're not listening to what their audience is saying.
Do you guys like watching red carpets? What do you like? How has it changed?
Well, I think red carpets changed from, hey, I'm Jason Carter and I'm talking to, now it's become where our audience, I keep saying the audience because you guys are the reason why all this exists, television exists, etc. So I think it's changed now to talking about what we want to see. When you reveal, you become relatable. I think red carpets have become a place to reveal now, and to really, instead of talking about superfluous surface stuff, you're talking about more personal things that resonate with your audiences, because we're the ones that are experiencing and reading all this stuff in pop culture. So I think I'm gone are the days of the stand-up cookie cutter host, and it's just more real.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't particularly like red carpets.
What do you like? Yeah, you don't like it. Why?
I don't particularly like it. I mean, I guess I would say now, I'm sort of starting to like it because of the reasons that you said, because people are asked about things that are actually happening in the world and that are important. But I feel like until semi-recently, it's been, who are you wearing?
Right.
Oh my gosh, what nail polish are you wearing? And it's they won an Oscar. It's like, shouldn't you be asking them about that work, about the story that they told?
What else they have next?
Yeah.
What are they working on?
We'll get to your story about what, a single mother overcoming opium addiction, but really quick, Alexander McQueen?
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon had the hashtag Ask Us More for last year's, because she was tired of being asked about my Marchesa dress. So it's changing, like anything, it's just taking time, but E needs to, I don't know, I should shut up.
That's all right, yeah, exactly. But you shouldn't, and E shouldn't either. And maybe if they hear you say the right thing and people vibe with you, maybe they will hire you for something, because that's the direction they'll take.